that was quite the night of action. And again, it feels like goal scoring is crazy on the West Coast, a little bit more sedate the rest of the league. And I was 100% wrong on a team having a one-off as a bad game. And I've had to make some adjustments on ye old power rankings. But let's go ahead and start things off with Arizona in against the Montreal Canadiens. And I did make an adjustment tonight. I'm going to say this for Montreal fans watching right now. They are higher on the power rankings right now than they were on Saturday night. Yep. So, again, wins and losses and all that wonderful jazz and all that doesn't necessarily translate to where a team moves to. So, for Montreal tonight, this was an important game. And Ronta's starting, so Kemper's still out. That's okay. Until 51 seconds in, Evans with his first NHL goal. Good to see. Cousins and Thompson with the assists on that one. Okay, all right, it's 1-0. Just relax. And nope. Gallagher scores from Tatar and Danault at 1:52. And I put up here they needed a save from Ronta. And honestly, it just looked like they weren't ready to play. Absolutely looked like Arizona should have been calling for a mulligan at that point. Like, nah, we weren't ready at all. And Montreal, early on, the crowd's into this. Everybody's going nuts, and it feels like it could be a blowout. The Habs pressed for more, and with the first goal coming into tonight's action, they were 18-8-4. So pretty strong when they score first. Not one of the better numbers in the league. There are other teams that haven't lost a single game in regulation when they've scored first, but still, pretty good record for Montreal. Stepan, however, would score from Kessel at 5:08, and it felt like that was kind of against the flow of the play. And it went in the net, and there was kind of a quiet crowd. Like, wait, what just happened? The Coyotes then got a power play. That didn't work out. And then Ronta stopped Danault. Danault would have other mentions on the board here, and not for good reasons. The Coyotes get another power play, and that would be a storyline tonight. Montreal taking penalties. Petrie then caused the Coyotes to get a penalty. I believe that was during the penalty kill as well. Nice play by Petrie. It's nice to see a guy force a penalty. And then there was a 4-minute Habs power play for a double minor high stick, and then there's a scrum right after because Kovalchuk didn't like it. Suzuki took a stick in the face. I believe it was from Stepan, and Kovalchuk came in, and then everybody just sort of gets involved. And then there was a trip shortly after that to make it a 5-on-3. So it's a massive 5-on-3. 5-on-3s cut both ways. You see instances where a 5-on-3 gives a team the game and you go, oh, that 5-on-3 just killed them. And then there are other games where killing off a 5-on-3 gives the other team the confidence. And it felt like that was a major kill by the Arizona Coyotes. So we start the third period, start the second period, feels like the third period because there's so much going on in that first. Second period, and it's 2-1. Danault took a puck to the jaw early, and it didn't look good. We're talking a lot of bleeding going on. Very concerned look from the trainers, and he left the game, and it looked like it caught him right in here, and your first thought is, so that could be broken. So hopefully he's okay. We'll see if he's in the news of the day for bad reasons tomorrow, and that would really devastate Montreal. Philippe Danault, while some overrate him, some underrate him, I will say he is their two-way center. He is a poor man's Patrice Bergeron for them, and not having him in the lineup will really hurt. Suzuki then nearly banked one in off Ronta. Nice play from behind the net. Really smart play by Suzuki, and it almost worked. The Habs got a power play, which then turned into a 4-on-4, and there were a lot of special teams both ways in that second period. It was kind of a mess. And then coming out of all that, Taylor Hall gets a goal from Dvorak at 16:36. And it's right about here that you notice the Habs aren't getting any shots on Ronta in the second period. So first period, 2 minutes in, it's 2-0. And after that, it just feels like there wasn't really that sense of urgency from Montreal. And where this gets tricky is you're letting that goaltender get his confidence back, get his feet under him. So we go into the third period. It's a 2-2 tie. The Habs did press early and often. The shots were 6-2 for the Habs at 7.5 minutes. And then the Habs had a play where the puck went in the net, went in after the whistle, and fight over it too much. And it looked like Montreal was going to score and going to win the game. It really did. That being said, it was also another good game for Kovalchuk. Kovalchuk, pretty solid player for Montreal. I really don't see him getting traded. Both teams seem to want a point at this stage, too. It seemed like both teams kind of backed off. Like, all right, well, we'll just nurse this into overtime. And both teams do need points because both of them came into tonight out of the playoff picture. At the very least, under the playoff line. And I've got some really cool new magnets for that as well that you guys will see on the next board. Just fantastic. I ordered them about a week ago, and they're better than I'd expected. Now, the Coyotes pressured. There was a late power play coming out of that pressure. And on said power play, it is Chychrun scoring from Keller and Stepan exactly at 19 minutes. All the wind out of the sails for the Montreal Canadiens. Goaltender gets pulled after a face-off win. And Raanta denied Kovalchuk the very last second. So, big denial by Raanta, and Kovalchuk very nearly tied it up and didn't. Your final score is 3-2 in favor of Arizona. Raanta saves 26 out of 28. Price saves 31 out of 34. Your 3 stars are Chychrun, Hall, and with his first goal, Evans of the Montreal Canadiens. So, there you go. The Arizona Coyotes go into Montreal. They turn around their fortunes a bit. Montreal, things get tougher. They have 24 games left. They're 5 points back. Toronto has 2 games in hand on them. So they still need some help. And again, this is part of the reason why I look at Montreal and I think they probably don't make the playoffs. They'd have to catch third in their division. The idea of catching a wild card as the Metro gets better again, it gets more difficult. So Price saved 31 out of 34 in the loss. Raanta saved 26 out of 28 in the victory. Power plays, Arizona goes 1 for 6. Montreal went 0 for 6. And that's your story right there. Shots were 11 apiece in the first, 17-3 Arizona in the second. Thanks for coming out, Montreal. And then in the third, Arizona takes most of the period off as the shots were 15-6 in favor of Montreal. Final shots, 34-28 in favor of the Coyotes. And Chychrun with the game winner gets that first star. And Jacob Chychrun just continues his incredible play. I believe he's up to 13 goals now. Quietly, 13 goals. All right, next up. Florida in against Philly. So for the Philadelphia Flyers, important game for Florida. Also an important game. They're looking at Toronto and thinking, all right, we can get in there and we can get back into third place. No problem at all. And then it looked like it wasn't going to be much of a problem when they scored on their first shot. Weegar gets that goal from Ekblad and Barkov at 3:07. And Ekblad had a very good game. I know the overall score doesn't show it, but he did. He was very prominent out there. The Panthers got a power play, didn't score on it. And that's the storyline tonight. Lots of power plays, much like the first game. The Flyers went more than 5 minutes without a shot. But when they got one, it went in. Provorov scores from Niskanen and Pitlick at 13:58. The Flyers get a power play after that. Then there was a scrum after Bobrovsky got knocked down. That'll tend to cause a scrum to happen. Knock down the other team's goaltender. Even if you're pushed in, even if it's not intentional, the other team's going to take exception to that. That's their goalie. So after one period, it's 1-1. Second period, 5:24 on a 2-on-0 break. Mini break, but it was still a break of 2 guys in on the net. No defenders back. Van Riemsdyk scores from Voracek and Braun at 5:24 and makes it 2-1. Very nice goal. Very nice goal by Philly, who again proved they're excellent at home. There was pressure by the Flyers around the halfway mark. Huberdeau and Barkov then had a net miss. So Huberdeau passes it to Barkov, and Barkov just misses. And that happened a couple of times where they were in. They just couldn't quite make it work. The Panthers get a power play. Hoffman ends up hitting the post. And then Sanheim in the last minute. Those are the killers, right? Van Riemsdyk and Lawton with the assists at 19:08. And that makes it 3-1 in favor of the Flyers. So we go into the third period. The Flyers are 20-0-2 when leading after 2 periods. And so for the Flyers, this is a big game here. Power play for the Panthers. The Flyers get a power play after that. So they're exchanging power plays. Neither power play effective tonight. The Panthers then were shorthanded. And during being shorthanded, they got a 3-on-1. That's how it works when you're on the power play. Your defenseman pinches and you turn the puck over. So it's a 3-on-1 for the Panthers. They don't score. The Flyers end up with a 5-on-3 for 17 seconds. Even call a timeout to try to plan something out. Doesn't work. Another game with a 5-on-3 that didn't go anywhere. Shorthanded break for Vetrano, as Frankie had a decent enough game. Not on the board, though, so, shorthanded break after that, and then the power play went to the Panthers. So, again, neither team effective with the power play tonight. The Flyers get another power play. This is where these games drive me nuts. Whether they're ticky-tack penalties or they're good penalties, the flow of the game is just gone. So both in this game and in this game, there were periods where it's just, okay, so another power play and another power play. And especially when they're not effective, it just takes all the heart out of the game. Then there was some shorthanded pressure by Ekblad, and the Panthers end up with another power play. This one late in the game. And then Huberdeau, with the goalie pulled, has a net. All he has to do is just bring it out front, pop it in. He pops it right smack dab off the post. It goes off the post to Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux snaps it down to the other end of the ice, and it goes into the empty net. That's at 18:51. Huberdeau then went over to the bench, hung his head as any player would in that situation, and instead of being 3-2, it's 4-1, and that's your final score. Tough way to end the game for Florida. They'll be remembered for not being able to finish their chances, and for Carter Hart playing pretty well. Bobrovsky saves 30 out of 33 in the loss. Hart saves 30 out of 31 in the victory. So, nice return for Carter Hart tonight. Van Riemsdyk's your first star, Hart's your second, and Travis Sanheim, third star tonight for Philadelphia. Power plays, both teams ineffective, 0 for 5. Shots, 11-10 in the first in favor of Philly, 13-10 Philly in the second, 11-10 Florida in the third. Final shots, 34-31. Pretty evenly played game. Puck bounces just went the way of the Philadelphia Flyers. Moving along. Islanders in against the Capitals. And so still 698, huh? I'm starting to think Ovechkin's never going to hit 700. Yeah, this is 2 games in a row he hasn't scored a goal. So sure. And we're going to keep hearing NBC talk about it constantly. So Gudas wasn't playing. It was notable that Gudas, it was felt his play has kind of fallen off in recent weeks, and so they pull him out of the lineup. And Beauvillier doesn't seem to care as he gets a goal from Bailey and Nelson at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And Bailey had a very good night. So did Beauvillier. He scores again from Nelson and Bailey at 6:16, so you just switch who the first and second assists are in that one. And it's 2-0 for the Islanders at 6:16. Very quiet crowd at that point. The Caps were shell-shocked. Keep in mind, this is a series where the home team hasn't won during this regular season matchup all year. And tonight, kind of holds serve. Carlson would score from Backstrom at 12:55. That put some heart back into the crowd. They started getting excited. The Islanders then got a power play, which turned into a 4-on-4. There wouldn't be a lot of power plays in this game because it's an Islanders game. Most of their games, you don't see power plays going either way in them. Taves, however, would score from Bailey and Pulock at 18:06. So Bailey with 3 assists in the first period. Take that, Gretzky. Just kidding. I'm pretty sure Gretzky scored like way more assists than that in a period. But Bailey had a good period. So it's 3-1 after 1. And again, it felt like it was a shell-shocked crowd there watching this. They really wanted to get behind it. This is a crowd that was thinking they might see something special tonight. 45 seconds into the second, it gets worse. Komarov. Yeah, Leo Komarov gets a goal from Nelson and Leddy. So Nelson with another point. That's his third assist in the night. And yeah, then Hathaway had a fight with Johnston. Power play for the Isles follows that. After that was over, the Caps get their second power play of the game. And that's it for the power plays. Yeah, that's right. That's it, yeah. Johnson had some words with Panik before the face-off. I put that up there because I thought, is Johnston going to start another fight? Or is Ross Johnson going to start a fight? Is he going to start a fight with Richard Panik? He didn't. Eberle would then score from Leon Barzal at 10:36. 5-1 halfway through the game. Wow. Samsonov at that point is out. Holtby's in. Yeah, they started Samsonov and he allowed 5. So that's going to hurt Ilya Samsonov's numbers across the board. Eller scored from Hagelin at 11:25, meaning the Habs took that kick in the backside pretty well. Power play for the Caps, and they score on it. Oshie scored from Carlson and Backstrom at 16:59. It's a 2-goal game. Crowd's right back into it. Here we go. Third period, only down by 2. But the Islanders, they were guilty of hanging on a little bit here. They really were. But it's an Islanders game, and that's sometimes the way that they play. There was a goaltender pull with 2:45 left. The Caps call a timeout with 1:31 left. Ovechkin certainly had his share of opportunities. Could not get one. So, tonight ends the same as it did going in. It's still 2 goals away from 700 for Ovechkin. And if you're a Caps fan, yes. Now, I will say, I agree now with the Caps fans that are concerned. I'm right there with you. This was a start by Samsonov. This is the second straight game at home where they were flat. And they were flat often. Being down 5-1 halfway through the game. You can't be doing that. Again, against a divisional opponent, same as Philadelphia. 26 saves on 29 shots in the win for Greiss. Holtby saved 15 out of 20 before Holtby went in. Holtby saved all 12. So Samsonov, not a great night. Holtby saves every shot he faces. 3 stars are Beauvillier, Bailey, and Carlson gets the 3rd star with the goal and the assist. Shots were 10 apiece in the first, 14-8 Islanders in the second, 11-8 in the third in favor of the Capitals. Power plays, the Islanders go 0 for 2. The Capitals go 1 for 3. And yeah, that's quite the game tonight for the Islanders. And it puts some distance between themselves and that playoff line, which we'll get into. And for the Capitals, they don't have a cushion anymore over the Penguins. And if they don't watch it, they're not going to have a cushion over the Islanders either. Now, Tampa. Tampa went in against Columbus. And as soon as they announced it was McElhinney in net, I thought, all right, so much for the goaltending duel. Or is it? Because, again, McElhinney has been pretty good this year. He just wasn't getting the goal support early on. And his numbers early on weren't very good, so it skewed his overall numbers poor. I think coming out of tonight, his overall numbers are going to be a lot better. So, early on, these teams have a scrum, and they're very unfriendly. There was sort of a, we remember you guys from the playoffs. We hate you guys. We hate you too. Remember when we swept you? Don't remind us of, they reminded us of sweeping us. And that's when it all just gets ugly. There may have been some 4-letter words in there as well. I don't think any of them were fork or ship. And that's about as far as I want to go with that. Yeah. I don't think any of them were friendly words. 4-on-4 after that scrum. So just take a couple guys and go, you're in the box. Kucherov would score from Sergachev and point at 2:29. And that really, it's scoring an early goal against Columbus. You're taking a team that has trouble scoring and you put them on the defensive right away. Merzlikins, the team feeds on every save he makes. So it's important to get that early goal, and Tampa gets that. The Bolts had that edge, and they were putting on a lot of pressure at around the halfway mark of that period. They were playing really, really well. But then when the puck went the other way, when Columbus got their chances, McElhinney, pretty good goaltender, not too bad. There was a check to the head by Foligno on Chernak. Now, I don't get into that in these videos, but when there is a penalty for an illegal check to the head, it does go to the Department of Player Safety. I'm not saying anything will or won't happen. That's in their hands. We'll see if it ends up in the news tomorrow. Second period, early power play for the Bolts. Bjorkstrand gets a goal from Dubois and Bemstrom at 3:44. So early in the period, Columbus gets on even terms. Again, that's very important. Get on even terms and make sure that you're making Tampa work for it. Foudy was denied. Goal line stand by McElhinney. Absolutely amazing goal line stand. Liam Foudy, it looked like, was going to get his first goal. Now, I remember last year in the preseason, Foudy was fantastic. I was really surprised Columbus cut him. He looks ready right now. He does. He looks like he's ready to be an NHLer, and we'll see what happens with him. But he does. I think he looks ready. There was pressure by the Bolts at around the 12-minute mark. Columbus, however, ends up getting a power play, and they don't score on that. Late power play goes to Tampa. They don't score on that either. This is another one of those games where the power play, it's there, but doesn't really do very much. Third period, the shots were only 1-0 in favor of Tampa at 5 minutes. That's how much they were sitting back. That's how much it was, no, you guys make the mistake. We're not going to make this mistake. You make the mistake. You're going to get that shot through. I'm going to block it. Oh, I can block some shots. That's what was going back and forth. The Bolts had the edge in shots, 6-1 at the half. So Tampa Bay playing really well on the road. Merzlikins was doing his best to portray the superhero in this game to that stage. McElhinney then denied Bjorkstrand. Really, really good chance for Bjorkstrand, and McElhinney just shut it down. Cirelli had a chance that was stopped at the other end. And then Tampa Bay turns up the pressure with 4.5 minutes left, but Elvis was great. And there were some last-minute saves there by Elvis that I'm kind of surprised he's not in the 3 stars from tonight. I don't know if maybe it's just fatigue. Maybe whoever picks the 3 stars says, you know what, he's in the 3 stars every night. Got to give it to somebody else. But we go to overtime. In the overtime, it doesn't take long. Columbus coughs up the puck in their own zone, and Tampa is lethal 3-on-3. Point to Hedman. Hedman to Kucherov. Kucherov has an empty net to shoot at. 31 seconds in. Tampa Bay wins this one 2-1 in overtime. So Columbus does get a point. And for Tampa, they get 2. They pull within 3 points of Boston. Keep in mind, Boston is number 1 in the NHL. They also are now tied with the Washington Capitals for 2nd overall in the National Hockey League. Tampa, they're on their way. If they win another President's Trophy, let the speculation begin. And just I remember back to my video last year before the first round, Columbus is dead, and then having a discussion of how Columbus might not be, but in all likelihood they probably were, and then they swept Tampa. Shots in this one were 10-8 in the first in favor of Tampa. It's 15-6 in the second in favor of Columbus. 11-9 Tampa in the third. Tampa gets the only shot of overtime. It's the one that matters. Final shots 32-30 in favor of Columbus, meaning McElhinney saves 31 out of 32. Merzlikins saves 28 out of 30. Not a bad night for him. Kucherov, McElhinney, and Bjorkstrand are your 3 stars. Power plays, both teams went 0 for 3 tonight. So not anything to write home about those power plays. That being said, I need to change boards. Speculation also may be that coming out of tonight's result, I'm wearing a Canucks jersey, that Canucks are probably right back up in the power rankings. No, actually, I left them at the exact same spot they were last Saturday. They didn't move up at all. So it's not how they work. So I'm letting you guys just get like a little bit of a tidbit, a behind the scenes kind of thing about how that board works. Canucks win the game tonight. Good. I still think I've got them in the right spot. Nashville, on the other hand, they did drop. Nashville dropped a couple of spots. Because tonight, this is not a great game for Nashville. I don't know what kind of voodoo the Canucks have on Nashville, but it showed up again tonight. I don't understand it. Pre-game ceremony for Sedin Week and for Legends, and thank God they changed those banners. We were at a game, I'm trying to remember if it was the last game we went to or the one before that, and I pointed out to Yvonne, I said, those banners don't make any sense, because Smeal never wore the blue and green jersey. Bure never wore the blue and green jersey. Why are all the banners blue and green? So tonight they had a ceremony where they take all the banners and put them the right colors. Smeal's is yellow and for the Flying V colors. And for Linden and Bure, they changed them to the skate colors. And I'm like, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. Perfect. And of course Naslund stayed the same, and he's on the ice thinking, mine didn't change. Why didn't mine change? That's what I wore. So I thought that was a nice ceremony, and thank God Linden was there. So I talked a lot about how Linden wasn't at the 90s night. I still think that's an absolute crying shame, because he was the face of that team, and seeing him and McLean on the ice together again would have been great. Please, Canucks, make that happen. Get McLean and Linden out on the ice together somehow for a ceremony before the season's over. Loud building. 90s Canuck jerseys being worn on the ice. A lot of Flying V's in the crowd. Crowd clearly behind this whole throwback night. Very excited. And the Canucks pressed at 6.5 minutes, and they gave these fans a reason to cheer. McEwen scores from Miller and Stetcher at 7:06. Zach McEwen's a keeper. I like this kid. I hope he stays on the 4th line next year. I would hope that the 4th line for the Canucks gets completely revamped next season. I think you can go with some of these younger hard workers. And Justin Bailey in the lineup tonight? Yes, please. He was very good. Limited action, but very good when he was out there. Markstrom stopped Yarncroke. The Canucks get a power play. Well, it's Nashville, so you know what happens on the power play against Nashville. It's so weird. Sutter scores from Pettersson and Hughes at 12:44. That makes the Canucks 9 for 10 against the Predators on the season. I don't know what it is. And these weren't all pretty either. The Preds pushed for an answer. They did. And then at 13:51, they get pushed back. Jordy Ben with his first as a Canuck from Gaudette and Roussel. So Gaudette continues to put up points. The Predators then get a power play. They don't score on that one. They got a lot of power plays in this game too. Second period, Pettersson's backside scores a goal from Edler and Stetcher at 58 seconds. And at that point, Pedersen's backside kicked Rinne's backside out of the game, and Saros is in. So the Predators pressure at 2 minutes, not giving up. They're only down 4-0 at this stage. They get a power play on a Myers penalty, and then Myers and Watson kind of squared off. I don't qualify that as a fight. I don't know. That's why I put squared off and put no punches. Like, it didn't really feel like a fight to me at all. It's just sort of mauled each other. If there was ever anything just qualifies, they just hugged. That's kind of what it was. So on that power play, Smith scores from Yossi and Yarncroke at 5:59. This is where you get nervous as a Canucks fans. 4-0 lead. We're fine. A minute and 6 seconds later, Granlund scores from Fabro. And you could feel that the Canucks were letting them back into this. That at 4-2, suddenly they feel pretty good. They feel pretty confident. And that's absolutely, it's, you get these images of what happened in Pittsburgh in your head and the Washington game, and you're like, oh, we don't need one of those tonight. The Predators kept up the pressure, though. The shots were 11-3 for the Predators at 9 minutes. They get a power play. The shots are 16-5 for the Predators at 14 minutes into the period. And I thought way too many shots for Nashville. Nashville had over 30 shots in the first two periods. And yet, JT Miller, with 2 minutes left exactly in the period, scores from Quinn Hughes. Yeah, Hughes had a pretty good night as well. Hughes, pretty special. We go into the third period, and Sissons crashed into Markstrom. He was helped by Tanev. Let's be honest, he was helped by Tanev. That drew a crowd, as is known to be the case. You crash into the goaltender, you're going to be bringing a party. And then there's a power play that happens, and Virtanen on said power play scores from Hughes and Gaudette at 2:32. Their power play at this point was 10 out of 11 against the Predators, which is historical. I'm not going to get into the history. They were talking about the all-time greatest power plays in any one season between two teams. They were going way, way, way back to the 80s and the 90s, and I didn't write it all on the board because I thought there could be a lot of goals in this game, and it's such a weird stat. We're probably never going to talk about it again. But there's some kind of a mental problem that Nashville has against Vancouver's power play, because Vancouver's power play coming into tonight had been brutal for weeks. Hughes, with that, he's got 3 assists now. In 4 games this season, he's recorded 3 or more assists. He ties Ray Bourque's rookie record for most games for a rookie with 3 assists or more. And I will jump on with Canuck fans now and say he has a pretty good chance of being Rookie of the Year. I'm not going to say he's the guy at the top, but the gap between Makar and Hughes is virtually non-existent right now in my eyes. Hughes is one of the top scoring defensemen in the National Hockey League, so he is going to push for that award. Then after that, Hines screamed his way into a bench minor, just kept yelling at the ref. And I'm pretty sure they went over and told him knock it off, and he just kept going. So like, all right, bench minor. They don't score on that one. The Predators get a power play late. The Canucks would also have another one later on that didn't go in, so they only end up 2 for 4 on the night, so that sucked. They're 10 for 13 on the season against Nashville. That's ridiculous. And they were going into all these stats about how long it takes for a team to score 10 power play goals against one other team. And this is just, I can't explain it. I don't think Nashville can explain it. I don't even think the Canucks can explain it. It's one of those weird things. And of the power play goals, I don't think they were particularly pretty. They just went in. They just banked their way in. They just ricocheted their way in. So Rinne saved 13 out of 17. He gets pulled. Saros saves 13 out of 15. And it continues that storyline we've had for Nashville, where if one goaltender struggles, so does the other. Markstrom saves 36 out of 38. He was fantastic. He really was. There's that 1 minute and 6 seconds where he allowed 2, but he was great in that second period for the most part. Hughes, Markstrom, and Miller are your 3 stars. I absolutely love when people say, oh, the JT Miller trade was still stupid. Okay, yeah, sure thing. There's the goal. There's an assist there. He had a goal and an assist tonight. Yeah, what a horrible trade. Picking up a guy who's scoring about a point a game. He's 26 years of age. He's a bum. Yeah. Okay, power plays 1 for 6 for the Nashville Predators, 2 for 4 for Vancouver. Shots were 16-12 Vancouver in the first, 19-7 Nashville in the second. Vancouver's got to stop doing that. Third period, 9-7 in favor of Vancouver. Final shots, 38-32 in favor of Nashville. This was a huge loss for Nashville. All the momentum they had a couple games ago, it's gone. Just gone. I don't know. I don't know how you fix that, because they had the games in hand, and when you lose the games in hand, you don't have them anymore. All right, last game of the night. Calgary went into San Jose. And this is quite the result for Calgary. If you're a San Jose fan, maybe find something to do. Origami or something. Just this may not be the review for you. Early Flames power play, and they take advantage. Lucic. Yeah, Milan Lucic has been crazy good to start this road trip. So he scores a power play goal from Backlund and Anderson at 4:05. And then Toby Reeder, 25 seconds later, he's on a goal scoring streak. He got an empty netter against Vancouver, so now he's scored in back-to-back games. Quick, sign him to an extension. Jankowski and Ronaldo with the assists on that one at 4:39. And Jankowski, all kidding aside, Jankowski is finally starting to get points. That's key for Calgary, that they're getting the goals. The depth guys are getting the goals, because that's what's been killing him this year. Not just everybody points to Gaudreau, but just that depth scoring hasn't been there either. Scrum at around 9 minutes, and it involves both Kane and Tkachuk. That'll surprise you, that Kane and Tkachuk were in each other's faces tonight. Yep. And Kane took a penalty and he complained about it. Also a huge surprise, Zach Ronaldo. Yep. He gets a goal tonight from Gaudreau and Monahan at 9:23. So remember, I'm watching these games. McEwen, Sutter, and Ben score for Vancouver. Calgary, Lucic, Reeder, and Ronaldo. Nobody that anybody has in a hockey pool. The Sharks, just terrible. This was not Dell's fault. This was not on Aaron Dell at all. That's why Dell doesn't get pulled tonight, because it really wasn't his fault. He was actually making some really good saves. Erik Karlsson would score about 3 minutes later from Gaudreau and Vlasic, and that gave the Sharks some life. But Riddick was true to the test. He stood up, and he was very good. Second period, Lucic and Nason kind of hugged. Again, it was much like the Myers fight. Wasn't really a fight. It was more of Nason kind of, all right, no, you're Milan Lucic. I don't. And Lucic, I will say this for Lucic. We talk a lot about him. If he knows a guy doesn't really want to fight him, and if he knows he could just tool somebody, very often he just won't. And he just sort of, you could tell if he wanted to tool Nason, he probably could have. But Nason gets 4 minutes and Lucic gets 2, which caused all of San Jose to lose their minds. And I don't, that's why there's a question mark there, because I don't understand why they went that way either. The Flames get a power play out of some sort of a scrum. But again, the Sharks got a power play after that, and they scored. Burns from Meyer and Karlsson at 4:51. Beautiful goal by Burns. Absolutely fantastic goal by Burns. Good job. Jankowski, though, restores that lead from Lucic and Hanifin at 10:46 to make it 4-2. So Jankowski with a goal, Lucic with an assist. He's one of the stars of this game, so it's just insane. Lucic is getting points. Mangiapane had a break. He shot high. There was a power play for the Flames. And it's at this stage that you note that Aaron Dell is making some really good saves. They're down 4-2, and he's not giving up. It's like a Ryan Miller effort in Vancouver where they're getting killed. And I feel bad for the guy. Third period, power play. And a power play goal. Tkachuk from Hanifin and Lindholm at 1:26. So, yeah, really deadly power play for Calgary, and it wasn't finished. The Flames got a power play that became a 5-on-3. The fans were very unhappy. The referee was being showered with some chants at that stage of the game. And after the 5-on-3 during a 5-on-4, it's Backlund who breaks a goalless drought for himself with the power play marker from Mangiapane and Lucic at 14:08. So they didn't let up. They didn't stop at all. And these games were very similar. They're both playing teams below the playoff line. They're both fighting for their lives. And both Calgary and Vancouver did very well tonight. Both of them, 6-2 wins. And for Calgary, Riddick, 33 saves on 35 shots. He was excellent. Dell, again, not his fault. 31 saves on 37 shots. Kills the save percentage for the night. Not on him. Shots 15-10 in the first for Calgary, 14-13 Calgary in the second, 13-8 San Jose in the third. Final shots 37-36 in favor of Calgary. Power plays 3 for 6 for the Flames, 1 for 1 for San Jose. So there you go. You guys are caught up, and here are the updated standings. The Flames now jump into wildcard spot with 64 points, where it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. If a team's below the line, they're not in. If they're above the line, they're in. Not a whole lot of change anywhere else, but the Islanders and Columbus both pull within 7 points of the Capitals, who are still only 4 points clear of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And for Tampa, they are 3 points back of first overall. The Canucks, they pull 3 points ahead of the Oilers and Vegas. They're still 3 points ahead of Calgary as that division remains really tight. And the Jets stay above the playoff line while Arizona, despite the victory tonight, they stay below it because Calgary won as well. That's how close things are in the West. And that's how close things are in the East, where Philadelphia, with their victory, pulled 2 points ahead of the Canes, who play tomorrow night. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through you just happened upon this video. Tomorrow's a busy night, 11 games. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.